May 29th, carry me. We believe that our higher power will take care of us. Basic text, page 58. We all have times when it seems as though our lives are falling apart. There are days or even weeks when it seems that everything that can go wrong is going wrong. Whether it's the loss of a job, the death of a loved one, or the end of a relationship, we doubt that we'll survive the changes taking place in our lives. It's during the times when the world is crashing down around our ears that we find our greatest faith in a loving higher power. No human being could relieve our suffering. We know that only God's care can provide the comfort we seek. We feel broken, but we go on, knowing that our lives will be repaired. As we progress in our recovery and our faith in our higher power grows, we are sure to greet the difficult times with a sense of hope, despite the pain we may be in. We need not despair, for we know that our higher power's care will carry us through when we can't walk on our own. Just for today, I will rely on God's care through the painful times, knowing that my higher power will always be there. I'm Herb the Addictaholic. This is just for today. And you hear often that people pray only when they're down and out, when something bad's happening. You know, in the military, we call it a foxhole prayer. You know, you're being fired upon, or mortars are coming in, or planes going down. Whatever it is, you're praying to get out alive. And oftentimes we bargain during that time. I'll stop doing this, or I'll give up that, or I'll do more of this if you just let me live through this type of situation. But the thing is, most of us turn to talking to something when we get into that predicament, when we feel that the end is near. Then we're willing to say, hey, out there, you, universe, God, higher power, whatever it is, can you help me? And I try to, these days, make it a point to talk to my higher power even when things are good. You know, it's like calling my sponsor even though everything's fine, because it gets me into the practice, into the habit, so that when things are bad, it's not so hard to pick up that phone or to get down on my knees and pray, to ask for some guidance. And in so doing, when I find myself in a hard time, whether it's at work, or my wife was triggered by something I did that reminded her of the old me, and she's put some distance between us, whatever it is, things happen where I feel like stuff is starting to fall, crumble, erode around me. I know, much like in the past, that a month from now, I might not be thinking about those things that are happening at the moment. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Most likely not. Just like the clouds passing in front of the sun, it does get dark for a moment. The winter does come, but guess what? So does spring, so does summer. And it's all seasonal, it's all for the moment, and it doesn't last typically, unless we make it last in our minds. We can carry winter into summer with us, sometimes. It's kind of a horrible metaphor, but you guys get what I'm saying. So the trick is knowing that you have somebody, something, some higher loving power, a God that's caring, that's nurturing, that even though we're going through a hard time, my son falls and he skins his knee, bangs his head. He's in pain, he's hurting. I can't just mend it, but I can be there with him. I can guide him through. I can let him know he's got support, and that I empathize and I care, and that I wish he didn't hurt, but the thing is, we go through pain. That's part of living. I don't smile every time I jam my finger at work, but I don't get as angry as I used to, and I don't fixate on it. And, I do what I can to mitigate the pain afterwards, and try not to do it again and move on, and it takes practice, and it's not easy, but knowing that I have somebody, something somewhere looking out for me that has more power than a human, because sometimes humans don't cut it. Sometimes I'm going through it psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, and when I think of talking to somebody, I know from past experiences that oftentimes that conversation cheapens what I'm feeling. And people, although some people get it, mainly people in the rooms, sometimes they don't, and if they don't get it, then it makes me feel worse. If they have nothing consoling to say, then I feel like I have wasted breath and cheapened my feelings, and I don't like that. And I don't want to, and then I don't want to bombard people with my stuff either. I'm kind of a people pleaser still. I still kind of placate that way. But on the same token, like, if someone's willing to lend an ear, I will talk. I will definitely talk. I'll talk to my sponsor. I'll talk to my therapist. I'll talk. I'll share a little bit in the rooms occasionally. I try not to word vomit, and I try to keep it recovery based. But all of this is based in my recovery. So it's good knowing that God's there, because I could always talk to God, always, anywhere, anytime. Middle of a desert, dying of thirst, God's there. Like my kid with the skin knee. I can only do so much to patch that up and help out, especially if I don't have, like, if we're in a place where there's no Band-Aids or peroxide, like, what am I going to do? Let's spit on it, let's go pour some water on it for now. I'll help, let's do what we can do now. And sometimes that's what God's presenting to me is handle what you can do now. Thank you guys for coming out. I hope to see you tomorrow. Keep coming back. It works if you work it.